And the best way to know, really, is you're going to hear stuff, but you're also going to hear stuff from people who think that you're in trouble and you're not in trouble, or they just don't like you, or they're trying to tear you down, or they just like to be trolls and antagonize. Usually it's that pit of your stomach feeling. If you're somebody who is responsible for this thing succeeding, and you start to wake up at 3 a.m. and you're kind of panicking, that's when you start, you get that sweaty palm feeling and you're going, something's not going right. And you need to take a really good look and say, why am I feeling this way? Why do I feel like I'm not delivering what I should be delivering? Why is my team not delivering? And then that's when you can figure out if your brand needs to be rebranded or set in a different direction. Or sometimes you can just, the best thing to do is just say to the people who are paying attention to you that you're listening. I mean, that's hardly an innovative thing for me to say, but within our community, people will freak out if we change the background of the pages from light blue to lighter blue. I mean, then there's this whole kerfuffle over it, which is great because they're paying attention. And all it takes is a post to say, put all your rants here, tell us how much you hate us and that you're going to come and kill me, and we're listening. It's okay. And even if we don't ever change the colors, they feel heard. So that's a huge, huge way to do it, a little bit of damage control.
Megan, I heard a quote like that once that said, it's embarrassing when people notice your mistakes, but it's humiliating if they don't notice at all. Yeah. I learned that recently.
I like that. I'm going to share a couple of stories in terms of brand, and certain brand was in trouble. I spent 6 years with Siebel System, a CRM company. And I don't know if you guys know the story. Tom Siebel actually used to work for Oracle. And I remember that day that everybody in Siebel find out that Oracle, we're going to be part of Oracle. We were devastated. We thought, well, if we get bought by SAP, that will be better, right? But now it's Oracle. How could that be? And the morale of everybody who was left at the time was 5,000. I think after the acquisition was 3,000. People were just very disappointed. And I think, anyway, so I'm completely getting recorded, and a lot of my friends still work for Oracle. But now coming from a different perspective, being an entrepreneur, I think, when I first left my corporate job, very comfortable environment, and for a long time, I'm like, yeah, I would introduce myself. People ask me, what do you do? I'm with X company, and my last company was with Autodesk. And I realized I had a hard time to linking me. Now I'm creating your own brand. And a lot of times, I think what I've learned that your brand is really in trouble when you yourself are not willing to stand by your own brand. And sometimes it really made me think, a few months ago I met somebody, and very, very lovely lady, and she introduced herself, and the next thing she gave me 5 business cards. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I do this, sometimes I do that. And I'm thinking, wait, who are you at this moment? It's like the split personality. I'm scared. But what I realized that, sometimes I'm doing that too. Like for a long time I struggle. I'm like, okay, what do I introduce myself as? Am I the founder of BizTechDay, or am I this or that? I realized your brand will only be in trouble if you are not standing by it. And I think that's very, very important. Just really believe in what you're doing, and it doesn't really matter what it is. And I would love to work for any of these companies. I'll be like, I'm proud Virgin America person. Like, I'm proud working for Squidoo. I can see that. They're passionate about it. And I think most of the entrepreneur is we need to see that fire in you. And when you lose that, then your brand is in trouble.
Can I add one thing? You want to add something?
I'm like, I want to add something too. Just a quick little story on that, and about listening and talking to people. Luckily, with us, I can see when people fly us, if they're in our Elevate program, I know how many miles they have. And so we had sent out model airplanes to a lot of our top flyers, and they're really cool. And one of my teammates came up to me the other day, and he's like, I don't know what happened, but, I'm not going to tell the person's name, but, X person sent back the model airplane, and it said, I would have taken this a year ago. And it was just like this very blind note, and I thought, oh my God, what happened? One of our top flyers. And so, I quickly got on the phone and, hey, Mr. Jones, it's Porter Gale, VP of Marketing at Virgin America. You sent back the plane. What's going on? And he's dumbfounded. He's like, well, I just got off a flight. I'm at baggage claim right now. I'm in Dulles. And I said, well, I sent you a present and you returned it. And he had moved. So, I have no idea who sent it back, but, who wrote that on there. But the point is, I did a little investigative work because I didn't want to lose someone who was important to us. And it was a total misunderstanding. So, we got his new address. We sent out the airplane. But, you gotta listen and find out, like, what's going on. And if people are saying, negative things, or we think they're saying negative things, respond.
The thing I was going to add is that it's very tempting and very easy to give, the emotional responses, to say, you know that your brand's in trouble because you feel like it's in trouble and you're waking up at 3 a.m. and people are complaining about you. These are all emotional things that you're seeing happening. They're cues that you're watching. But the more practical answer, which there always is a practical side to the emotional side, is that sure, sometimes brands are going to be in trouble because the economy's tanking and your balance sheet is not, you're not hitting your numbers. I mean, sometimes you are just going to be in trouble. And damage control is a very different thing from saving your company or making the decisions about maybe this company maybe we're going to fail, and that's okay because, there's a lot of companies failing, and if you're always going to be afraid of the failure, then you're going to have a hell of a time starting something. So just the practicality that sometimes there can be real trouble, and that's when it's a different decision than damage control, I think.
I think I have one last question, or time for one last before I open it up to the audience. First of all, you've been way too agreeable, Megan. Now it's time to let us see the other side. It's interesting times that we're in with the economy, California in particular. Can I get a show of hands of people who are residents of the Bay Area, so we know who we're talking to? Mostly everyone here. So my question for the panel. Oh. Yeah. So ladies, you're talking to Californians, Bay Area residents, entrepreneurs, people concerned about starting businesses here, continuing careers here, paying their bills here. Something I noticed in the Virgin America, bragging about their brand kind of thing had to do with the fact that they are the only California-based airline, period. So my question to the women of the panel, like I said before I open it up, so please be thinking of your own questions, is how important is California to your brand, and will that change?
Want me to go first? Yeah. Ladies? God, I love California. California is huge for Virgin America. We actually were in a 3-year process to get our right to fly, and we did a lot of negotiations with California and also Massachusetts with Boston, and California won the right to have us here, and so we are thrilled to be here. It's harder to operate an airline on the West Coast just because of business travel, but we are thrilled to be here. We have a hub here and also in LA. But when I started, I actually changed up the game with a lot of the ad agencies and the providers that we were using. They were kind of scattered about. And I actually changed to a lot of California-based companies. And we have a lot of California-based partnerships. And we actually try to feed our local economy. And I think that that's important. And we have been supported by companies and business travelers in this market. And so we do try to partner. And so that, we also look at minority companies, small businesses, all of those factors. We really try to have that in our mix of people that we work with.